I think there is a perceptible change in the way people view things. I think people are beginning to join the dots with regard to Palestinism and beginning to recognize that it is something fictitious. It is a means whereby Britain can be Islamified. I think they understand there is, and that one cannot fail to see, there is a process of Islamification within Britain around which all these people rally. I mean, the Palestinist flag is something is ever present. So basically, that has become the flag of both overt kinetic jihad and stealth jihad, and people are beginning to see a change. Their eyes are opening now. They see a change in the landscape, and they don't like what they see, and they're beginning to ask questions. They're beginning to ask questions about, is this stuff really true? Have we been really told the full story? Have we been lied to? Has a pernicious narrative been practiced upon us? They're beginning to ask these questions. I think it's quite pronounced in Britain, less so in Italy, another country with which I have strong connections. It still hasn't happened in Italy. But in Britain, indeed in Ireland, we're seeing that things are beginning to change. Why should the country be flooded with alien culture, which is dissolving the social fabric of a country? Why should we be disinherited of what is ours? People are beginning to ask these questions. They're beginning to understand that they cannot take things for granted any longer. And if they don't act, they lose everything. They'll wake up one morning in a different country, in a foreign country.
Are you sure, though, that they make this connection to the Palestinian issue? Because I understand that, and there is a feeling in the UK that a certain process of Islamization is well, I actually have to say, well and truly in quite an advanced stage. However, I wonder if sometimes that connection is made up. And I'll actually give an example that's got nothing to do with Palestinians. And it was actually during some years ago, and it was when there was a large migration of people after Germany had said it would be relaxing its kind of border policies, and there were a huge movement. And the body of a young, was he Kurdish boy, that washed up on a beach, and it sort of made headlines in the United Kingdom.
Yes, I remember that instance. Yes,
and this was sort of used as evidence
Indeed.
for why why the United Kingdom is failing, why it should take in more refugees.
Right.
And it was thinking, the fact that the body of a little child, in the same way that this happens in, as we see in Gaza Strip,
Indeed.
the deaths of children exploited to, and it's quite successful. This did lead to a groundswell in support in opening up borders to people that were not little 3-year-old Kurdish boys. They were, by and large,
and
young
I think that's
men.
perfectly, you make a very good observation there. And I think that reinforces the point that I've been making, that people are beginning to believe they have been fooled for many years. I believe that you make that point. I think that gives emphasis to what I've been saying. Why in every demonstration in Britain do we see the ubiquitous flag? People see, but people realize that people see what's happening in public spaces where you have mass prayer gatherings. Which flag do you see? Which is the ever-present flag at these mass gatherings, these prayer meetings, these iftar meals? Which is the flag that you see?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Marco, you mentioned the social fabric and Ireland. I don't know how much you have been checking the Irish news, but in the end of the month, I can't remember another day, like last week of October, there will be elections for presidency here in Ireland, and we are confined to 3 candidates. I don't know which one is worse, but perhaps is none of them is good. So that's easy. It's an easier assessment, but I know which one is the worst, and I will tell it here out loud. It's Catherine Connolly, and I'm not advertising for her. And she mentioned on an interview that she believes that Hamas is part of the social fabric of Palestine. and even people among the left walked away from her, saying,
Right. But probably she said something quite
yeah,
truthful.
that's what I want to say.
Unwittingly,
Yeah.
perhaps an unintentional.
Perhaps she's correct.
Yeah.
But unconsciously she made a good point, or for once.
Yes.
But the most outrageous thing about it is this person. She's not a favorite, thank God. But according to the polls, around I think 15% are in favor of her being the president going forward. And we're talking about someone who is justifying war crimes, who are justifying a massacre. So yes, people are waking up, but there are still a good few who didn't realize what's going on. And that's
But she's
scary.
in good company,
15%...
Vitor. She is in good company. You have to bear in mind that all the European countries, Britain included, have been financing a terror organization for years, namely the PA. The pay for slave policy could not have been possible without financing from European countries.